Officer, we're so very sorry, but it fell off the back of a lorry.
What are we exactly, Ron?
We're a record company, obviously.
Yeah, like having sex but better. Yeah, we're a small independent record label.
Of the highest order.
Yeah, a paramilitary assault on the record industry itself. The corporate pigs out there. That sort of thing, really, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course, fighting the might of the corporate thing.
For heaven's sake, give the kids a break.
Hello.
Alright, Ron?
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah, fine. Sometimes we try and get the bands to pay for making their own records, which I think is a good idea.
It's probably the best idea.
Other times we have to go around selling the big issue. That sort of thing. Stealing.
Anywhere we could get a couple of bob, really.
Yeah, working.
Working sometimes even. Yeah.
But most of it's done on credit.
Officer, we're so very sorry.
Strangely enough, we had a band that paid for a record once. Started a new trend in the industry. A band called Greaseball.
From North London, oily rocker types.
Yeah, a young bunch of handsome gentlemen.
Didn't do too well, but it was a fantastic idea.
Enter, man.
Hiya.
How's it going, boss?
Alright, how's the vibe?
Yeah, very good, man.
How's
very
things?
Cool.
All right?
Yeah, man, mellow.
Got some new tunes for you.
Wow.
Our latest signings.
Zowie. Yeah, man, these are the new signings, yeah?
Yeah, we've got the particularly interesting one. Alan Parker, some geezer just came around to the flat.
Wow, I can feel something already.
It's that one.
It's that one, yeah?
Wow.
Yeah, got all the wrong labels on them, which is a bit of a problem.
It's just like tarot, isn't it, man, with tapes?
Yeah.
Wow. Life's so beautiful, isn't it? What you guys are doing, I just love it, man. I really mean that, man. I mean, it's the zeitgeist, it's everything. The 90s, pop culture, TV culture, everything, man. But I tell you what, you need some advice. You really do need some sort of advice.
So, James Brown, talking about independent record labels and the relevance of them, if there is one. I mean, do you think it's important that small labels like ours that don't sell, records basically, are around and exist? Are we wasting our time and everyone else's, or, is it a relevant function?
I don't think you're wasting your time. I think when I used to be a music editor at a music magazine, I used to think you were wasting my time with the endless drivel that used to arrive. But I think it's really important that people do their own record labels for the simple reason that if they didn't, then the occasional genius who was very good at spotting talent wouldn't be able to come through without getting a job on a major label. The obvious example is Alan McGee at Creation. When I used to do a fanzine 10 years ago, Alan was doing a fanzine and he started putting flexi discs in it. Then he released his first Creation singles, and now, of course, he's responsible for releasing records by Oasis and Primal Scream. Before them, Jesus and Mary Chain, all groundbreaking groups.
How difficult it is for us to get someone like yourself down to a gig to review it or to review a record compared with like a major?
Well, first thing, it kind of depends whether you're in London or not, because for a start, if you're outside London, certainly for bands and labels, outside London, they have to get gigs in London, which is very difficult because they haven't got a fan base in London, and so getting gigs in the first place is difficult. And but I mean, even for someone like you, who's obviously based in London, you know, it's getting the right gigs at the right sort of venues. Like a lot of bands will get, I mean, we'll say get a gig in, say, the Mean Fiddler in Harlesden or the Orange in Kensington or somewhere like that.
I mean, what makes you want to go along to it for a new sort of like label, someone you've not heard of? What would sort of, how would we get you down there? I mean, would you just go and see bands you like, or?
By sending me a record, one that which I
they invariably get binned or never listened to, don't they? How do we get through to the...
They don't get binned.
I'm not really, to be honest, I'm 30 years old, I'm not bothered about discovering brand new bands anymore like I was when I was 18. But
so that's obviously, you know, a problem that you come up against for a label like ours, to get through to people such as yourselves that are in a position to be able to put them into
I mean it's pretty much sewn up, I think. Even for the independent labels, the large independent labels all have people working in the mechanics and music industry, all have pluggers and they all have press officers, and the bands all have agents, and in that respect it is very difficult for much smaller labels to even break through to that large indie size. But
so you don't take calls and answer mail from sort of labels such as ourselves, and you have someone that goes through it for you and passes it on? Or
I don't even answer my mail from EMI Records.
how are you persuaded to write about a band? Is it just something that you like, or do you actually get persuaded by...
No, I mean, I don't think any amount of flash dinners or trips here or free drinks can make a bad band good.
So Simon, Kinglake Records, cutting edge of untapped source of new musical talent, or trough of shite?
I go for the first option.
And
if I could understand it. Yeah, I mean, labels like Kinglake are they're vital to the cause, as it were. You know, because they're there discovering new talent, and they can give small bands a chance without the pressure of immediate results and top 40 hits and getting on the chart show.
Quality is the most important thing to Kinglake Records.
I thought it was quantity, not quality.
Oh, quantity was it? Yeah. So nothing in particular would make us sign a band. So they got to be a bit different, bit off the wall. You know, like the dawn at the end of a long dark night.
And not accept too much in the way of record company hospitality, like advances and parties and any funding whatsoever, basically. So would you sort of like, what would you say to sort of like young bands that they should approach all sorts of labels, not just go for, like ourselves, to sort of like send your demos off to EMI and all of that kind of?
No, they don't need to. I think the problem with most bands is that they think, oh, we send a demo to EMI and they'll sign us, and then we'll make money, which is absolutely stupid. About 1% of all bands that actually sign deals make any money. And I think it's far better if they go into a label like Kinglake for 2, 3, 7-inch singles, and then they build up their foundations, they get a bit of success in the indie chart, sell like a few thousand records, and then they're ready. They've got a bit of background, done their background work, and then they can move on to major land.
Are we going to sign any more bands? What do you think?
Well, my ears are open.
And the door. The door is always open at Kinglake. Kinglake? Alan? No, I've never heard of you, no. Yeah, pop round. Door's always open. Yep, see you later. Bye.
That's great. Oh, hi.
So it says open.
Yeah, come in.
Cheers. Alan. And Peter and lovely. Yeah, whatever.
Hi, Ronnie, Martin.
Martin.
Alan, I presume.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Take a seat, mate. Take a seat.
Oh, right. So, what, you're in a band, are you?
Band. You wait. This is the sound of... sorry. It's called In a Band.
Oh, right. Yeah, good.
You should be in a band. Join the band. I'm going wrong.
It's like
It's right.
Anyone should be able to do it, but just don't send your records to me.
If if someone rings me up and says, I sent you this, have you listened to it? Then I'll say, oh, well, ring back in a few days and I'll dig it out and I'll listen to it. And then I'll forget to dig it out, and then they'll ring up in 3 days' time and I'll say, oh yeah, well, give us a ring next week and I'll dig it out and listen to it. Then I'll forget again, and then finally about 3 months afterwards I'll finally get around to listen to it and it'll be rubbish, and then I'll say, sorry, it's crap, go away.
This could be the future of rock, I suppose. Is that the gun track? Better have a look at it first.
Got a pen. Whoops.
You got a pen? Maybe we should do this outside Buckingham Palace or something.
Like the Pistols.
Yeah, like Pistols and a Jam.
Yeah,
We could do it outside the Kentucky on the Old Kent Road.
that's better. I was
What, the drive-through?
I was thinking. Yeah,
We could
Palace is
drive
for
through it,
us.
yeah.
Kentucky.
Mind you, it's now or never, isn't it?
No, or never, that's what he said.
Yeah, no.
Just under that. If you'd sign.
Well, it's all about commitment, you know. If you believe in it, then you know, build it, they will come.
That was the one thing that used to bug me. You get these endless kind of little plastic bags with a hand-drawn sleeve. And when I was 17, you know, in the mid-80s, that was very exciting. But now that I'm an old man, you know, I want to listen to some proper records.
Fair enough, really. Well, I think that just about wraps things up. Would you like to add anything?
No, definitely not.
But like the attitude that me and Martin get a lot when because we often go round into the offices to drop off records and us. Oh no, it's them two again. You know, I mean, we get a lot of reaction.
Well, that's because you're more famous than the band. You two. You and Martin.
In the near future, I can see us getting swallowed up by one of the corporates. You know, one of the big movers like EMI or one of them fellas.
It's Sony.
Sony. You know, they'd probably offer us a lot of money to sort of steer the ship, as it were, good ship Kinglake. You know, through the rugged waters of the ocean.
Yeah,
For
the ocean is a
music.
sea of madness.
Sea of music.
We're not in it for the money.
We're in it for the art.